Okay, good evening, everyone. Another impromptu live. This is the third live I wasn't going to do. No, I was going to do last night's live with Ricky, but then we turned it into a discussion about the movement and about Tommy. And I think this one's going to be very much in the same vein. Can everyone hear me okay there? Is that okay? Can you all hear me loud and clear? Just give me a thumbs up. You can hear me, Shoaib, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And it's streaming. There's not any buffering or anything strange going on. We're all good, yeah? Hi, Yam. How are you, brother? Hope you're doing well. And Claire Bear and everyone else that is going to be piling in, Janice, you're all welcome. Guys, just share this as widely as you possibly can. We had some really good figures yesterday. I think when we did one at lunchtime, when Tommy's the good news about Tommy came yesterday, we had about 2,000 people on continually at lunchtime. So share these videos, guys. Again, get everyone over to Counter Media because that's the platform I really want to develop. I want to get loads of my friends involved with that. I'm going to try and get Shoaib involved in Counter Media as well to just to be a regular contributor. Yeah. So I mean, here we are again. We're in exactly the same position as we've been so many times with Tommy. They give with one hand, they take away with the other. You know, I've been with him. Man, right away with this since 2018. I came over for my birthday in 2018, and me and my wife were staying in London. And as I got off the plane, my phone exploded. This was in almost exactly same time of year. It would have been, I suppose, May the 28th, 29th, so somewhere around my birthday. And Tommy had been arrested outside. It was either the Leeds or Huddersfield court. And just put in prison straight away. And it has been relentless. And we had a period, I suppose, from about 2019 until this current imprisonment on the contempt charge, where he wasn't in prison. But now it looks like this Labour government are really gunning for him. And again, we can't talk about the case because obviously we don't want to get dragged in with the same dragnet. I don't want to get Shoaib arrested.
they're already looking to get me arrested anyway.
He's in enough trouble. So please don't ask any questions about the case. I don't really know much about it. And anything I do know, I'm not going to say. So we ain't going to talk about the case. But what we're going to talk about is some general principles. And we can talk about the sentencing for the charge that he's been charged with, because that obviously doesn't affect the case in any way, shape, or form. But that's something I want to look at. And again, I want people's feedback on this. I mean, to me, this is an absolutely outrageous taking liberties once again and trying to take Tommy's liberty. I believe what we're witnessing is Stasi-like policing. And do you know what? If you're a copper and you're watching this tonight, I want to say something to you. I want to say, look, we know that you've got a tough job to do. And we know it's very, very difficult for you guys to speak up. But I'm going to give you a warning, not a warning as in a threat, a warning as in this is exactly what the Nazis said in the Second World War. We were only following orders. And I had a discussion with a policeman in Northern Ireland a few years ago. They were gathering intelligence on our little event that we do every Friday night in Bangor. And if you're in Northern Ireland and you're watching this in Northern Ireland, let me know in the comments. Please come down on Friday. We've been doing a protest, a demo outside a migrant hotel in Bangor for well over 2 years now. Sometimes we have 100 people, sometimes we have 10 people. But come down, you'll be welcome. We'll make you welcome. Let us know that you've come down because you watched this video, because we need to start building communities of activists all over the country who are willing to go and stand outside hotels, who are willing to take to the streets when Tommy's locked up, who are willing to take to the streets when there's other injustices going on. And I'm not talking about doing anything violent. I'm not even talking about civil disobedience. We're talking about legal, legitimate protest. So come down, Bangor, 7 o'clock every Friday night. We're there every Friday. We'll be there this Friday. And then there's the other thing is the protests in Belfast. If you're not involved in the protests in Belfast and you live in Northern Ireland, watch this channel because we're going to be promoting them. There's a lot going on. And what all this should do, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on the show, all this lawfare, and you've been a victim of it, so we can talk about what's happened to you. We can't talk about Tommy's case, but we can certainly talk about what's happened to you.
Yeah.
I think it has the opposite effect, because your profile in the movement and the respect you've got in the movement has gone through the roof since people have seen the footage of you being dragged away from your family in January.
Yeah.
Was it January this year? Wasn't it? Yeah.
It was January this way.
So
Yeah.
what do you think, Shoaib? I mean, do you think it's actually going to end up counterproductive, and we're actually going to end up with not a win, because obviously like we've always said, the process is the punishment. Even if they can't make these charges stick, the reality is the stress of facing potentially a substantial prison sentence for something. Yeah, I mean, it's tell us how you've been emotionally affected, and just tell all the listeners what's happened to you, and let's relate this to Tommy. And again, guys, before Shoaib does that, I want to say this very clearly. If Tommy is imprisoned again, if there's more lawfare perpetrated against him this year, I think we've got to take to the streets in every single town and city up and down the breadth of the UK peacefully, legally, but we've got to take a stand and make a lot of noise and do everything we can within the law to make this government realize that they're not getting away with this. And then what we've got to do is we've got to convert the boots on the ground into activists that are going to go and knock doors, put leaflets through doors, and that are going to become activists to help vote this lot out. Because that's the only way we're going to win this. We're only going to win this by getting these absolute scumbags voted out, getting rid of the civil service, sack the civil service, close the quangos, get anybody that's been doing anything malevolent, particularly from some of these NGOs that are sniffing about like Hate Without Hope. Find out if there's any criminality in their behavior, and start letting the boot go on the other foot, and start banging some of these people up. Because if we get power, I tell you now, you people, you lefties that have been torturing people and making people's lives miserable, making Shoaib's life miserable, making Tommy's life miserable, making Lucy Connolly's miserable, you're in a warning order, because if we do manage to get our hands on the organs of power, we will be looking at you very, very carefully. You can be absolutely guaranteed of that you will be getting the knock on the door from the Stasi, not the other way around, because it's about time that we had a little bit of revenge. Let's just put it that way. Shoaib, tell us what happened with you and how this kind of ties in with what Tommy's going to be going through now.
Yeah, sure. So what I'll do, I'll start off by giving a brief introduction. So before, when I came to the UK in 2008, I was doing my GCSEs in Saudi Arabia, and I remember my father and me were sitting down, we're talking about the places where I could actually go. And because I'm sure you know that my father paid for my education, so we were paying to wherever I wanted to go. And I was looking into the countries like America, Canada, Australia, Europe, Germany. I looked into Spain. I was looking into, and then there was UK. Believe it or not, UK was one of the most expensive places, because I wanted to go to a university which is in Uxbridge, London, and that is called Brunel University. And that is literally what it was, that I wanted to go to Uxbridge and being in London, it was very expensive. And I did not intend to come to the UK to work while I was studying. And that was my whole plan, and that was my whole aim. So when I sat down, there were a few things that I looked into, because I used to come to the UK as a tourist. Me and my father and my family, my brothers and sisters, we all used to come here. We used to look at the UK, and we used to love a lot of things about the UK. Some of the things were, believe it or not, was the police officers. When I was young, when I used to come to the UK, the way the police used to react to us, the way they used to treat us with so much respect and so much love. Every time I would go back to Saudi Arabia, I would tell them how amazing the British police were, because in Saudi Arabia, the police are really, really strict. You cannot speak to them. You cannot talk to them. If they come and they tell you, we want you to show us this, you have to show it. You cannot question them. You cannot do anything. Otherwise, you get beaten or you get locked up in the jail for X amount of time. You wouldn't even know. So what happened with that is that I was sitting with my dad, and I said to my dad, I want to go to a country, especially if we are putting our money into an economy. And if I'm getting educated from a place, it has to be an education of top quality, which for me has always been the UK. So I decided to come to the UK. And before I was coming here, I had all these dreams where everybody's free to say what they want to say. Everybody's free to live the way they want to live. And believe it or not, from 2008 till 2012, it was like that. And it's just simply now, when I've completed my master's in 2016 and 2018, when I finished my master's, I was going back to Saudi Arabia. And I just thought, you know what? I have come to this country. I've lived there as a student for 6 years. And the
Yep.
thing was, things were changing. And the only thing that I was picking up on, how every single ethnic minority was turning around and saying, oh, the white people are racist. Oh, the white people are this, the white people are that. But with me, the thing was, I do have a lot of white friends, and I just thought it will be a betrayal on my behalf that I don't stay here and say, no, you know what? Actually, the white people, no, they're not racist. I know white people, and I think the white people are really, really good because they've been nothing but kind to me. So when I was doing that, the only thing that was going on in my head was like, okay, how I'm going to stay here. So I applied for a job. I got a job in 2018, and I was living in Milton Keynes at that time. And I lived
Yep.
in Milton Keynes up until COVID happened, and then I moved to Swansea. But since I've moved there, and like I said, people used to say loads of things about white people this and white people that. I
Yep.
used to say things back to them, but I never thought that I would want to go into media, or I want to be a politician, or I want to go in journalism. But like I said, I was just telling people, oh, you know what, this is not okay. But then I had the people from the mosque telling me that Tommy Robinson,
Yep.
at this point, I knew of Tommy Robinson, but I wasn't familiar with his work or anything. So people were telling me, my own community were telling me that Tommy Robinson, he's a white racist, paid by Zionist, and all of these things. You need to stay away from him. And I said, okay, I'm going to
Yep.
go and have a look. And I did my research. I looked at his interviews. I've seen the things that Tommy Robinson has done, which includes a Pakistani man who was wrongfully accused of being a rapist. When Tommy
That's
turned
right.
up, and he actually found out that that girl was lying not only about what do you call it? He wasn't only lying about the girl wasn't only lying about the Pakistani guy. She actually put 2 rape cases against 2 white guys as well, just to get some things out of it. So when that happened, and I was looking at it, I said, okay, if Tommy is such a racist, why would he take the time out of his day and go and help somebody who according to the Muslim and the Pakistani community, he's against? If that was the case, Tommy would have done it. So I started looking into him even more.
I'm going to Shoaib, I'm going to stop you there, right? I'm going to stop this dead right there, and I'm going to call someone out. And I don't want this guy banned from the channel just yet, right? Because I want to call him out first. So hopefully the admins haven't banned him yet. This is a guy I've just screenshotted some vile abuse. Now, let me just put something to this audience that are watching tonight, right? Shoaib, in my opinion, is the sort of Muslim that we want in this country. He loves the country. He's an Anglophile. He's a patriot. He practices his religion privately. He's not trying to proselytize the whole nation and force us to convert to Islam by coercion or by persuasion. He's a regular guy. He's the sort of guy that we want in this chat. There's a guy. I hope he's still there. I hope you haven't kicked him out yet. I can't find him now. There's a guy who has just put some of the most vile abuse on against you, Shoaib. I don't know if you saw any of the stuff popping up on the screen. I popped it on the screen right now.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I have a zero tolerance for racism, anti-Semitism, anything that's attacking people because of who they are, right? And that also applies to attacking my Muslim friend who's sitting here doing exactly what people should do that come to this country, which is respecting it, showing respect to the people of this country, and showing his love for the people of this country and love for this country. So wherever that scumbag's gone, if he has been deleted, that's okay, because I've got screenshots of exactly what he said. But Mohammed Atif, or whatever your name is, you're a total wrong un. You're exactly the sort of person that we don't want in this country. I don't know who you are. I don't know whether you've lived here all your life, whether you were born here, but that sort of racism and that sort of hatred, attacking white people on this channel, attacking Shoaib, you, son, are part of the problem. And we're not afraid of you. We think you're a scumbag. We think you're a coward. You're probably not even using your real name. But how dare you come on and attack my friend on this channel?
He's there. He lives in Pakistan. I could see what he said. He said, I'm not in the UK. I live in Pakistan. That's what it is.
Yeah,
they are.
Here he is. I tell you what, Mohammed, stay there.
Speak English properly.
We don't want you here. We don't want you here, Mohammed. We want you to stay there, right? Just don't bother coming to our country because you're not welcome. You're a total wrong, and you are everything that's wrong. with the Muslim community.
Yes.
You are and you
Agreed.
can't see it because you're so blind and stupid and retarded. You are everything that's wrong. Shoaib's everything that's right with the Muslim community. You're everything that's wrong with the Muslim community, and you're not welcome. You're not welcome on this channel. You're not welcome in this country as far as I'm concerned. So, and this is the problem, Shoaib. This is the problem.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, Shoaib, he might be in Pakistan, right? We don't know. We don't know. He said he's from Pakistan. So
you never know.
He said he's from Pakistan. He doesn't say he's necessarily living in Pakistan. If you're not living in Pakistan, if you are living in the UK, please feel free to leave, because we don't want you here. We don't want that sort of.
I would give him a one-way ticket to Pakistan myself.
Yeah,
I'll buy him a ticket.
Okay, I'll chip in. We'll go half. We'll go half. Shoaib, you pay half. I'll go half. You know, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
no, I know. I've seen it. I've seen it. The thing is, Richard, and this is the thing that people don't understand. When a guy like me that come here, right, and I say I immigrated to the UK and I did it legally. When I was doing that, I knew that this is a Christian country, and for me, it will always be a Christian country till the day I die. No matter how much these jihadis and these Islamists come in and try to change the face of the UK, for me, in my heart, in my head, it's always will be, and it always is, a Christian country, and that is exactly how I respect it. When you're talking about religion as well, I'll be very clear. People have asked me this question many times. Oh, you know, what do you think about your religion? I said, I don't think anything about my religion, because one, it is my religion that is between me and my God. I will never inflict my religion on anybody else, and neither do I go out. Even when I was fasting, I used to go out with my friends and I will sit with them and they'll be eating and they'll say, oh, do you want to have food? I wouldn't tell them I'm fasting. I said, oh, I'm not hungry. And that's it. End of conversation. I don't sit there and I tell them, oh, look at me, I'm fasting. You need to abide by my law. You need to feel sorry for me. I'm not doing it for the people. And that's the thing that they hate the most. And for me, if I need to pray, I will pray in my own time. You will not see me like these Islamists blocking the road in the middle of the road to show off or look at us. Oh, it's my prayer time, so you're going to stand there and you are going to, abide by my law, and you're going to stop your cars because I feel like this is my time to pray. I will never do that. For me, before I'm a Muslim, before I'm anything else, I'm a human being. And for me, when people say, oh, what do you think about Christians? What do you think about Jews? I say one thing. When I see people, I don't see skin colors. I don't see religion. All I see a human being and the type of character they've got. If you've got a good character, I don't care. You're black, you're white, you're yellow, you're an alien. I don't care. But as long as you have a really, really good character, you are my friend. Anything after that, none of my business. So, this is the thing that I go by. And I know a lot of people know this. And the Muslim community especially, they hate it when I say this, because they've sat there and they've told me, they used to say these things to me. Oh, there is white supremacy. If you look at the white people, they get white privilege. So I went to the mosque and I asked, they were like 10, 11 of these guys. We were sitting there and they were talking about white privilege. And I said to them, you talk about white privilege, right? Tell me, where is the white privilege when I, as a brown Pakistani immigrant who's not first or second, English is my third language. I speak Urdu, then I speak Arabic, and then somewhere I speak English. So how is it, if there is so much white privilege, so how is it when I was given an interview for a job when there was 18 of other white native British people there, and I got the job out of 18, like literally, and it was not because I'm brown or anything. It was before the diversity hire started. But I'm going back in 2017 and 2018. I was only given the job because I could do the job. I had to go through 5 interviews with some of the most intelligent people, but because of my education, because of my qualification and my experience, I was given the job. And this is exactly what I would say should be there. When it comes down to diversity hire, I can very easily say, yeah, we want diversity hire because it will be easier for me. But guess what? I don't want diversity hire. If anything, ban the DEI hires. You need to ban the diversity hires. All you need to do is look at the person and look at their qualifications. Can they do the job? Not because, hey, I'm black, I'm brown, I'm an immigrant, I can't speak English, but give me a job on the telephone dealing with customers. How are you going to deal with customers when you can't even speak basic English? If you can't do that, before you say, Richard, or any other white person say, let me say it. If you cannot speak English and if you don't feel privileged being in the UK, please pack up and leave. Nobody's stopping you. Surely an immigrant like me don't want you here, because I come here, I have to pay $4,000 towards my visa every time I get an extension. And then you have people who just turn up out of nowhere. They get everything for free, right? They literally got no respect for the culture, for the British culture, which I love more than anything else. And that's the reason why I am in the UK. I'm not in Pakistan. If I like the Pakistani culture and I want to live in a Pakistani society, I'll go to Pakistan. I wouldn't come to the UK and expect the UK to change. And what I'm seeing right now in the UK, this is the most dangerous thing right now, where we have people like Tommy Robinson put into jail because he have said something. I'll say it, and let me say it as a Pakistani. Yes, it was a problem of Pakistani rapist gangs. People have made it such a nice word for them, a grooming gang. This is no grooming gang. This is a rapist gang. And I can say this because these are the same people, if not them, their cousins, their aunties, their uncles, they're doing the same thing in Pakistan. So when these Pakistanis and these Muslims, these Bengalis, these Asians sitting here in UK and saying, oh my God, the white people are racist. Oh my God, it's the white people, white people. Tell me something. When you go to Dubai, I've been to Dubai, right? Whenever I used to go to Dubai, I used to go to watch cricket matches. And when I was entering the cricket stadium, there was something written on the wall in Dubai, which is, again, an Arabic country where everything should be in Arabic. It wasn't in Arabic. It was in Urdu. Urdu is a language that the Pakistanis speak. And it says there's no political chanting. So if the white people are racist, what about the Arabs? Arabs are racist too, because they wrote that thing only in Urdu. They don't have a problem with the Chinese. They don't have a problem with the white or the Indians or anyone else. They have a problem with the Pakistanis, because unfortunately, with the majority of these Pakistani people, what they do, they will just turn up somewhere and their whole thing would be they want to just destroy everything. If they say, and I hear this a lot, Richard, I'm sure you hear this a lot, when people say, oh, it was our ancestor who come here and build everything for you. If your ancestor is building all these things, why Pakistan is a shithole? Sorry, I don't want to say shit, but why is this a hellhole? If you guys are building nations like the Pakistanis and all these ethnic minorities sit there and say, oh my God, we have done so much good for the UK, for the America, for the Europe, we deserve something. If you have done so good, why is it that Pakistan is a hellhole? What is it that you have done in this country that you couldn't do it for yours? I'll tell you what it is.
Well, exactly.
It was the white man. No, let me tell these, Richard, let me tell these Asians. I know a lot of them watch this so they can give it to the police. They can send the police to my house. But let me say this. It was the white men and the white women who put you and people like me in a line and taught us what it means to work hard, what it means to have earned an honest living. And the moment these white people left you guys in peace, guess what you've done? Any country you have touched, you have destroyed it. You have ruined it. You talk about Pakistan, this guy, Muhammad Afridi in Pakistan, he's in hellhole. If he lives in Pakistan...
What does that mean? What does that mean? What he's saying there? Okay,
so he's saying, I live in Pakistan, your kutta. Kutta means dog. And sharmuta is actually an Arabic word for a whore. Basically, he has called me a dog and a prostitute, and then he's calling me a kafir. And Richard, if somebody calls you a kafir when you and it then comes down to being an ex-Muslim, which a lot of people from Birmingham, Manchester, these Muslims, they think it's okay to stab a guy like me because according to them, I'm a kafir because I don't sing the same song they want me to sing. And then he says, a pork eater.
This is the thing. Yeah, you're. I mean, I don't know if I don't listen. I'm actually, the kuta shamuta. I don't really get that, but I'm quite happy. I am a kafir and I am a pork eater, and I'm very proud. And actually, I know you don't like dogs, so you can call me a dog as well. And the other thing, I mean, I'm a man, so I don't think I'm a male prostitute. But anyway, the reality is, Mohammed Afridi, enjoy Pakistan. You're not welcome on this channel. You're not welcome coming and giving your racist abuse and your xenophobic abuse. We have zero tolerance for racism. We have zero tolerance for xenophobia. So you can just sling your hook. We don't want you. We don't want you in the channel, and we certainly don't want you coming visiting our country. So just stay in Pakistan, enjoy yourself out there, and have a nice life. Let's get rid of him. Let's get rid of Mohammed Afridi because he's starting to annoy me now. Anyway, here's the thing. But here's the thing. Let's get all this in context. I mean, so Tommy, great news yesterday. Tommy's dead. Danny, how you doing, mate? Need to touch base soon. Let me know when you've got a number. Text me a new number. So Tommy, they're after Tommy again. The hounds of hell are after Tommy again. And can you imagine the roller coaster he's been on the last 24 hours, right? So Tommy gets the decision yesterday. They're going to let him out early. And a lot of us were saying yesterday, Shoaib, you too probably, we were saying it's too good to be true. It's too good to be true. There's got to be a sting in the tail here, because we know the way they treat him. We know what they do. Psychologically, he's been sitting in solitary confinement for goodness knows how long, right? And they hit him with a criminal charge. And I'm going to, guys, I mean, again, if there's anybody that's a legal expert and I get this wrong, please correct me, because I don't want to say something that's wrong. But this is what it appears to me. So I'm going to read something from the Crown Prosecution Service that appears to be about this charge that Tommy's been charged with. Okay, so again, we're not talking about the actual case, but we're talking about the sentencing. So this is what the Crown Prosecution advises, legal guidance. Prosecutors should therefore consider potential charges in the following order. If there is sufficient evidence for elements of the stalking or harassment involving fear or violence or serious distress or substantial adverse effects on the victim's usual day-to-day activities, the offence is contrary to Section 4A of Protection from Harassment Act 1997. And then there's a whole lot of blurb, which I'll not go through. But then it says that the last sentence of this paragraph says, this is relevant to the way the case is presented. Note also, in respect of sentencing powers, that the maximum penalty is 10 years imprisonment. 10 years imprisonment. Let that sink in, folks, as you're watching this. Now, if I've got that wrong, I'm not a legal expert. I've just gone on the CPS website, pulled up the offence that he's been charged with, and I'm looking at the sentencing, right? 10 years in prison. Now, that to me is absolutely, there we go. There's Marion Long's just I don't know if she put that up there before I started talking about it. They can't keep Tommy in. These are completely different cases. This can carry 10 years. So Marion, I don't know if you've got a legal background or if you're just like me, you've gone up and looked it up on the CPS website. This is absolutely shocking. So Tommy's he's done his time. He's complied, and quite rightly so. I want to say this as well. All those idiots that are saying things like, "Oh, he shouldn't have took the film down." Really? Are you sitting in prison? Are you the ones that have done the time family? Because are you separated from your family in solitary confinement, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing if your food's safe, having to eat tin food for goodness knows how many months he's been in there now? Was it October to May, 7 months? Are you living on tin tuna and pot noodles? You know, so and also been denied a lot of human rights. I was denied my visits with Tommy. Don Keith was denied his visits with Tommy. Dan Wotton was denied the visits with Tommy. And believe you me, we're not going in there to do anything criminal. We're not going in there to make the prison look bad. We wanted to go and talk to Tommy and see how it was. No, we were banned. And that woman that was governor of that prison, well, she should just hang her head in shame for the way Tommy was treated. The book stops with her. She was the prison governor. Apparently she's retired now. Surprise, surprise. But so he's sitting there now tonight. He was elated yesterday. He's sitting there now tonight. How is he feeling now with this? What are they going to do? Are they going to arrest him at the prison gates when he gets out? We don't know. We don't know what they're going to do. And that is what he is facing. And why? What's his horrendous crime? His horrendous crime is telling the truth about grooming gangs, telling the truth about jihadists, and telling the truth about nutcases like Mohammed from Pakistan, who was spewing his racist and xenophobic abuse at me and Shoaib, whoever it was that he was targeting. Probably both of us, to be quite honest with you. Well, guess what, Mohammed? I'm proud to eat pork. I don't know what Shoaib eats. I don't care. Because I have liberty. You don't have liberty. You're in a prison. You're in a prison with your fanatical
and what they do to the Christian
We're free.
What they do to Christian people in Pakistan, I feel, when I see these Pakistanis here talking about, we need to save these people, and I literally look at them. You're talking about all these things, but what is happening in Pakistan? There are Christian people that I personally know in Pakistan who live in Pakistan. They can't tell people they're Christian only because if somebody, let's say a barber, finds out that these people are Pakistani Christian, they won't cut their hair. Do you know why? Because if they go to a barber and they will say, "Oh, are you a Christian?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a Christian. Can you cut my hair?" Nah, we're not gonna do it. He said, "Okay, I'll bring you my own scissors, my own brush. Can you do it then?" They will say again, "No." So I find it really, really amusing when you have people there on X, on YouTube, talking about, "Oh, we're gonna save this. We should do this." You know, you are the ones who need saving. You cannot save anybody else because of the way you guys are going. And I think with Tommy as well, I honestly don't even want to imagine, what he would be going through, because I'm sure when I was put in custody for 15 hours, for me,
Yep.
I was in bits, man. I was scared. I was, they put you in custody, and when you're sat there, when you have literally nothing going on, and I was put in there again. I can't discuss the case, but it was me being racist towards the Muslim community. That was a part of the reason why they put me in there. And my whole crime is that I sat there and I said to them that there is a problem within the Pakistani community of the rapist gangs. And I have seen these things personally. I know some of the some of the survivors from England side who have spoken to me, and who have, when they have seen me, they've actually reached out to me and they've said to me, "We have never ever heard a Pakistani who is not from the UK, who is actually from Pakistan. Obviously, I was raised in Saudi Arabia, but I am a Pakistani." So they said, "We have never heard anybody like that. So, can you say a little bit more? Can you keep speaking for us? Because we don't see this at all." And not only those are the survivors, those are the women who have survived these Pakistani rape gangs. These were the same people who were defending me when all these Pakistanis started attacking me, saying exactly the same thing that this Muhammad, whoever this guy was saying to me, that I'm a kafir, I'm a this. I don't mind. See, for me, I see this. I just laugh. And I say, "Okay, that is fine." But what do you do when the police come after you? What do you do when the whole justice system is literally now is built in a way to put people like me, people like you, people like Tommy Robinson, who's in jail, people like Lucy Connolly, another guy, Wayne, who used to have an X account, they're all been put in jail because they were angry. Do you not think that they had the right to be angry? 3 innocent little kids, right? For me, they are children. I don't care if they were white, if they were, and I don't care. For me, the news was 3 innocent little children has been, stabbed to death. And for me, that you don't want to imagine that. And for you to even think a news like that came in, and then for the police and everybody else turn up to the grieving parents and tell them, if you were to go out and tell who the person was, or what the description of the person, because a lot of people knew who he was, because when they were talking to each other, "Oh, there was this kind of guy, this is his appearance, this is what he looked like, this is who've killed your daughter." And the police are like, "Oh, well, you can't say that." Guess what? If you say that, not only going to ruin the case, so this is blackmail now, harassment is, you're going to be put into jail because you get in our way. Well, the parents, nobody's getting your way to the police. The police need to start doing their job before this thing happened. And every time we had things like these, the Manchester bombing, the 7/7 bombing in London, every single time the police and the Prevent came, you know what they said? "Oh, we sorry, we knew the guy. We knew everything about him, we're monitoring him. But guess what? We didn't do the main purpose we're supposed to be." But yet it was the Prevent people visiting me, came to my house, sat down with me and told me that, "Oh, we think you're being radicalized by the far right because you are not acting like a typical Pakistani Muslim guy, because you have a lot to say about the Pakistani people and about your own religion, about your own community. How come you don't talk about the white guy?" And I said to the police officer that, "You are white. I don't think you're a Muslim." He said, "I'm not." I said, "Are you a Christian?" He said, "Oh, I don't practice. I don't know. I didn't ask if you practice. Are you a Christian? Do you consider yourself?" He said, "Yes." So I said, "I'm a Muslim. Let me talk about the things that I know, which is my religion, and let me talk about the Pakistani rapist guy, because which is my community. You are a white man. Talk about your community. Talk about your Christianity, the problem here. And this is the only way. This is the only way we're going to resolve this. If you want to sit there and tell me that every time somebody talk to me about Pakistani rape gang, and my only answer should be, 'Oh, you're a racist because you're not white and you're saying all these things.'" So I don't do deflection. I'm not here to do deflection. I'm here to talk about facts. You got facts, you talk to me, but you are here to shut me down. And in a way, I thought the police officer was a racist because he said to me, "Oh, you don't seem like your typical Pakistani guy." What is a typical Pakistani guy? A terrorist?
Exactly.
Is that what he was trying to tell me?
Yeah, I mean, but this is the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, but you see, what it suits that. You see, people don't realize the left are the most racist people on the planet, bar none. and that can be borne out. You look at what they did in communist Russia at the kulaks, who were a slightly different ethnicity to a lot of the peasant Russians. They took them off and they killed them and took the farms. You know, so there's a lot of racism on the left. The left wants to separate people. The left wants every Pakistani to be wearing pajamas, a beard down to his navel, top lip shaved, and beating his wife. That's what the left want. That's what they want.
Yes.
Whereas you blow their
Not only
doors.
that, they want cousin marriages, because the thing is they've got, and I will tell you, you know, this is the thing, a lot of people don't know this, right? So when the Pakistanis and these Bengalis, they want to talk about the cousin marriages, there's a very big reason behind it. One, they've got no communication skills. They cannot go out and with their character that they've got, which they've got basically a zero character, they cannot approach a girl and say to them, hey, I like you. Do you like me? Because the first thing the guy will look at them and be like, nah, I don't like you. You don't even know how to speak. I never had that problem, because guess what? I can speak. I can communicate. I don't turn up with everything is, oh, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Pakistani. That is not my character. My character is me. My ethnicity and everything that comes, you know, later on. It got nothing to do with the man that I am today. And that was the problem that, you know, the police saw. And like I said, you know, I got arrested. I was visited by Prevent First for 50 minutes. They were in my house. And the worst thing is, Richard, you know, like me being an immigrant I'm always pro-police. Everybody knows I've always said that I'm pro-police. You know, the police are good. We need to respect the police, because I've seen the worst police, which is the Pakistani police. You know, they are sold. If you give them 20 penny, you give them 20p and they are sold. Anything you want to do, you can do, and you can be on your way. But I like the way the police were. Unfortunately, we don't see that anymore. Unfortunately, the Great Britain, the stories that my grandfather used to tell me, you know, in World War II and after World War II, the Great Britain, the way the white people, the things that they did for the other countries, you know, throughout the world, even though they experienced so much devastation within their own country, but they were, you know, going around, not conquering lands, but actually giving education to different lands. There were so many good things that were going on in their time. And unfortunately, when I got to the UK, I've seen things change drastically. Literally after 2022, after this COVID and all this nonsense that has happened, everything just changed. And when everything changed, you need to ask a guy like me. Obviously, for you guys, you have seen the change. But for me, when, like I said, when I used to listen to the stories from my grandfather about the Great Britain, he never used to call it Britain. For him, it was always great. Till the day he died, he always used to say, this is the Great Britain. And the great was, whenever he used to say the great, he used to emphasize on the great, and then he used to say Britain. And then he used to give me all the positivity about the white people. And, you know, there were a lot of things that people say, oh, the white people are this, the white people are that. But my grandfather used to say, well, there are bad people in Pakistan, there are bad people in Saudi Arabia, India, you go anywhere, there are good, there are bad. But what you need to do, you need to pick up the good things. You need to see the good thing. And since I've been in the UK since 2008 as an immigrant, all I have seen, right, is from people like you, people like Paul Thorpe, you know, Voice of Wales, Dan, Steph, Stan. These guys have shown me nothing but kindness. So how can I sit there while you guys have shown me kindness and be a traitor to you guys and traitor to the country by not showing my loyalty towards you guys and sitting there and saying, hey, guess what? White people are racist. Because you know what, Richard, when I lost my job with the Swansea Council, they were women, the white women, my boss, who said to me, if you take this statement down where you say Tommy Robinson is not a racist, where all these white people attending the marches for Tommy Robinson, they're not racist, you will get your job right now. And I say this, you know, I used to work, I was the only brown person in there, an immigrant in there. Everybody else was white. And I felt so ashamed and so embarrassed because I was the only one who actually gave up my job because I did not want it to back down. I see so many white people there. They look at me and they said, oh, you know, you're saying it right. Oh, well done. But when my time came, none of them were standing with me. You know,
well,
every single one of these workers that I worked with.
This is the thing. I mean, you know, it's cost you, it's cost me jobs, it's cost me money in business. It's cost us all sorts of pain in our lives. And I'm not on a pity party because the reality is that this fight is a vital fight and we've got to be in the fight and we've got to keep doing what we're doing. We've got to be careful. We've got to not give them what they want. And I'm very aware on live streams. That's why I didn't go too far with our friend from Pakistan. But the reality is we've got to be very careful not to give them what they want. But at the same time, when what we're saying is legal and legitimate, people shouldn't be losing jobs over it. And I've been cancelled. This YouTube channel that we're on now, demonetized, banned from Facebook for life. It's all of this stuff is there to silence us. And of course, the more vocal you are, the more they come after you and silence you. But the thing is with Tommy, there was a guy in Germany in the Second World War. He was a pastor called Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I don't know if you ever heard of Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
No.
But basically, what Bonhoeffer did, he was taking a stand against the Nazis in the 1930s, right the way until the start of the Second World War. He came to England late in the 1930s, and then God told him, he said, no, you go back to Germany and you pay whatever price you have to pay. And you still stand against the Nazis in Germany. And Bonhoeffer did. He went back to Germany, and eventually he was murdered by the Nazi regime just before the end of the Second World War. His family were put in concentration camps because he stood for what was right. And what we're facing now with Islamofascism and with Marxism, and it's interesting because they seem very unequally yoked bedfellows, the Islamofascists and the Marxists. But the truth of the matter is they fit hand in glove, because both ideologies are totalitarian. Both ideologies are actually supremacists, and both ideologies hate freedom of speech and want to take away all of our voices. And that's our fight. And again, I did upset some people on Saturday. I made a speech on Saturday, and I was attacking atheism. I wasn't attacking atheists, and I stand by this. And one of the guys in the comments tonight, he asked me to discuss this on air. What I see, and this is for John Capone, what I see is a massive differential between atheism and atheists. If you're an atheist, and to be honest with you, I've said this before, and I get in trouble when I say this, I don't actually believe in atheists. I think there are people who are very strong agnostics. They're pretty sure there isn't a God, but they can't be totally sure. Whereas believers can be totally sure because they've experienced the love of God in their lives, they've experienced miracles and so on and so forth, and they've experienced the life of the risen Christ, right? So the bastard children of atheism are communism and fascism. Both of those ideologies came out of atheism. So when people are looking at Islam saying, oh, it's all Islam, well, hold on. No, because atheism and its two bastard children led to the deaths of at least 100 million people in the last 100 years. Yeah. So we've got to get everything in context, but in exactly the same way with Islamofascism, and a lot of the current Islamofascist ideology comes out of groups like the Muslim Brotherhood. And as far as I know, was it Syed Qutb started the Muslim Brotherhood? I think it was, wasn't it, Syed Qutb?
Yes.
As far as I know, Qutb was influenced by the communists and the Marxists, because he went, hold on a minute, their revolution worked in Russia. Their revolution's working in these strange, Slavic countries. We can do the same sort of thing with Islam. So a lot of his ideology and Maududi's ideology. Maududi was the Pakistani father of jihad. Qutb was the Arab father of jihad. Yeah. In the 20th century, obviously jihad's gone on for years, but in the 20th century, there's terrorist-inspired, politically subversive jihad, Islamism, in other words, right? Yeah. So those two men were influenced by the Marxists and by the communists, and they saw what those revolutions did, and they went, we can do that with Islam. So we've got to understand that all these things are connected, and that's one of the reasons that the left make good bedfellows with the Islamists. But the problem is, like what happened in Iran, once the Iranian Revolution finished, and in fact, one of my good Iranian friends, I forget his name now. Oh, it'll come back to me. But anyway, so an Iranian friend of mine, died a few years ago, and he told me, he says, once he was a Christian, and he said once the revolution happened, the Iranian mullahs and the Revolutionary Guard killed all the communists. They just said, thanks for the help, lads. Now just go over there. We've got a surprise for you, and they shot them all, So this is the insanity. It's like the Turkey's voting for Christmas group, Queers for Palestine. I mean, what is Queers for Palestine? Queers for Gaza?
Oh my God! I know. The thing is, it's so delusional. I can't believe it.
It's gonna. you know what? We've got this Pride Month coming up, right?
Oh yeah.
In June.
Oh no, June is
Diversity.
White History Month. Pride
Are you sure?
was I have started
Are
like
you
White
sure?
History Month for June.
Are you sure? Are you sure June's not Pride Month?
No,
Is it
it's
not?
not.
I'm gonna have to
No.
Google that. I'm gonna have to because I thought,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. Let me check it.
whenever Pride Month, I'm not really into Pride Month, okay? But yeah,
Yeah, I know.
they don't have a Pride Month in
They have a Pride
Gaza.
Air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have it here, but they don't have it. They don't have a Pride. They don't have a Pride Month. And as Douglas Murray very wittily said, they can't do the normal Islamist tradition of throwing homosexuals off tall buildings because in Gaza there aren't any tall buildings anymore.
There aren't. Yeah, that's true. And they don't understand this. These because you're right. A lot of them are so brainwashed. They don't understand the reality. Because I feel like what these Islamists are doing right now with their hateful marches day in day out, you
Yeah,
see it literally every single day. And the funny thing is, and I don't know how the police doesn't see this, right? Whenever there is a pro-Pali march, you will never see a counter protest from us, from the far right, the so-called far right. But whenever we do a march, it could be for children. You can have
yeah,
you can have a march for the children, and yet they will still
yeah,
be there to agitate, to cause
yeah,
problem. And the worst thing is, they will be there, and the police will actually be marching with the hateful people and waiting for us to do a response. And when somebody does get a bit emotional, say something, guess what? We get arrested. Then we get arrested for
absolutely.
saying something in the first place. These people shouldn't be there, because your question should be, why is it that you are counter protesting when we are here for the children? So you're talking about children
Yeah,
being killed left, right, and central. But what
yeah,
about the children here? Because I've heard so many. There was a white guy that I've seen, that I've heard on a space on X once, and he was saying to me that, oh, I have done a marathon for Gaza, and he was a white guy. And I said to him, that's really good, you've done that. But can you tell me, what are you doing for the children in the UK, for the veterans in the UK, for the pensioners in the UK, and
yeah,
for the actual children of the UK whose parents cannot afford gifts on Christmas time? They cannot
yeah,
go to parties on Easter time because they cannot afford anything. What are you doing for that children? So when you want to go and clean someone else's house, how about clean yours first and then go help others? How about help yourself
yeah,
first and then go and help others? But no, these guys, all of them, and I know for a fact, these people are sitting there and they're pushing an agenda. They're trying to be as hateful as they can, using someone's suffering and taking it out on the streets of the UK where it doesn't belong. We got nothing to do with it. If you are saying the British government is doing, well, guess what? The streets that you're occupying, the streets that you're blocking in the name of someone else's suffering, it's people like us who are on the street. The government people that you
yeah,
want to do, go outside their houses, go outside their mansions, their palaces. Why you're out to do all these harm to us? We haven't done anything. And
yeah,
again, I've always said that people, innocent women, men, children, and animals dying anywhere, anywhere. You can be from Gaza, you can be from Israel, you can be from anywhere. I don't care. If you are innocent, people are dying, it shouldn't happen in the first place. So I
yeah,
don't know what do they want us to do, right? By showing exactly what they are saying. Oh, we stand against it. So when you were talking about the lefties, I can tell you that I've been called a paki, a coconut, by the Muslims. I never
yeah,
heard a white. I never. Let me tell you this, Richard. I've been here 10 years. Not once a white person have been racist to me. Never.
yeah,
I have
yeah.
not. I do not
Exactly.
believe in racism by the white people. That's it. It's simple
No,
as that.
I think the United Kingdom is one of the least racist countries on the planet. Years ago when I got involved in a mission organization. I'm not going to say where it was because I don't want to compromise a mission organization, but it was worked in West Africa. And I was out there 2 or 3 times, and basically the guy, I remember driving through the capital city of this town, a car with these 2 African lads. They're good lads, really good mates. And they said to me, he says, "Oh, look at that." I was, "What?" He says, "The Chinese." I was like, "What?" He says, "Oh," he says, "See these Chinese, they're coming over here, they're taking all our resources, they're going with all the women, they're flashing the money about. We can't stand them." And I just looked at him and went, "Do you know what? See, if I said that back in my home country, I'd be thrown in prison." So see if I said that about you, if you came to my country and I said that and we all laughed, because they got the point, that it was basically, there's racism everywhere, and anybody that says there isn't is lying. But I think the UK is the least racist
So see, when
country.
you say racism, see what I say, it's not racism, it's discrimination. And I'll tell you how. So let's say if I go up
Yeah,
to a white girl and I said to her, "Oh, you know what? I like you. Do you want to go on a date with me?" And
yeah,
she looked at me and she said, "Oh, you know, you're not my type." It now that is up to me. Either I become a loser, like all these Islamists are. The moment a white girl says no to them, they're like, "Oh, she's a racist." Or I could say it's discrimination. She doesn't like the way I
yeah,
look. Maybe she doesn't like the way I
yeah,
speak, or maybe she just don't like me, and that could be for me. If I don't like somebody and they ask me out on dinner, I'll say no to them. It's not because I'm a racist. It's because they're not my type. It's literally as simple as that. And the
yeah,
same way, when
yeah,
when people are talking about racism in the workplace, there's a systematic racism. It's not racism. The thing is, it's
yeah,
not racism when two people of the same qualifications with let's do it this way. Let's say a white man
yeah,
come with all the good qualifications, all the good experience, and I turn up as well with exactly the same thing. So now what this company would need, somebody who can represent the company. Yes, they got the experience. Yes, they both got the qualifications. But if I am applying for a job which is in the UK and I cannot
yeah,
speak English, and they decided to give the job to the white guy who can actually speak English in the UK, how can I call that
yeah,
racism? It is discrimination. Simple as that. I'll do it. If I get a white guy come to my office and he say, "Oh, I speak English, amazing. I got good qualifications. I got everything. I got experience." But then there's another guy who speaks Urdu because we are in Pakistan and doesn't
yeah,
speak English that well, doesn't have good qualification. Of course, for me, I'll go to the Pakistani guy because he is fit for the job. So that is my
yeah.
discrimination against the white guy. So all these fancy made up word, white privilege, systematic
Hmm.
racism. Yeah, this is all nonsense. These words are for people who are losers. Basically, they have
Yeah,
no skills. They've got absolutely nothing about their character. They got no qualifications. All they have is this victimhood mentality, which unfortunately a lot of the people that you guys have led them in for years and years and years, and now you're seeing it. These are the same people whose parents come here, and rather than being grateful for what they've given, they sat on benefit system. Again, this benefit system was made by the white people for the white people, and unfortunately, it is the white people who doesn't get it. It is all the
yeah.
immigrants getting it. It is all the illegals getting it. It literally every single one who comes on a boat, turn up out of
It,
nowhere, they're getting
it's
it, and yet
insanity.
the white
It's
people are racist.
insanity. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Totally, and I think what we've got to do, Shoaib, we've got to look at the solutions because we all know what the problems are, right? Everybody that I mean, by the way, 1,600 people watching this tonight must be
Oh,
because you're on it,
wow.
Shoaib. I always get more when I get a good guest. You know what I mean? But 1,600 people, guys, go on to Counter Media. Subscribe to the channel. I want to really build that channel up. I think there's a lot of potential there. I'm building the website at the minute. Want to do a lot of stuff with that channel. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time, but I need you guys to build it. We bounced by about, I think, 500 over the last few days since I've been
Oh,
doing
wow.
lives on Counter Media. So we're up at about 3,500 or something like that, which is great. But I want to get it up to. I do want to get up to 100,000 if possible, because what's going to happen is we're going to be reaching people that we don't normally reach. Because obviously this channel's got about 40. The Richard Inman channel's got about 43,000 on it. My Twitter's got about 20,000. If we get Counter Media beating them out the ballpark and grow the other channels, it means we're going to have a really massive footprint. And that's so important because what we're saying, the content that you're getting from our channels, you're not getting anywhere else because people either can't express themselves or too scared, as like Shoaib saying, they're too scared to express themselves. So it's really important we keep this going. And I know when I had a few difficulties a few weeks ago, and I was, I said I was going to take a step back from doing demos in England, which is still the case. But I said I'm not going to stop doing this because there's a community on people this show. I'm sure you get it on your channel, and they've literally told me they were on the verge of, doing something very silly to themselves. And what we were doing and the positivity and the good vibes that we were putting out there kept them going. And so that gives all of us that have got these channels a massive responsibility, right? That we've got to look out for each other. We've got to help each other and encourage. That's why I get so annoyed when I see people in our movement and outside of our movement attacking each other and slagging each other off. It really annoys me because at the end of the day, we need to stick together and we need to fight this battle as one. And I again, have zero tolerance for that as well. If someone's coming in here and slagging off any of my friends, you're going to get banned in a heartbeat. It's as simple as that, because I'm just, I just want, if you come on here and attacking Shoaib, you're going to get outed, you're going to get shown up, and you're going to get binned off, because we just don't want that sort of stuff. We want to keep it positive. And I think we've got some great plans. I think even though I'll not be involved on the ground, but the Unite the Kingdom thing, absolutely superb. The pledge is going great guns. Again, it's not building super fast, but it's steadily getting bigger and bigger every month. And there's loads of other plans as well. There's loads of other plans that we've got in the background. And it's just, again, it's like, I don't know whether you all like the Shoaib, it's getting the time to do everything that you want to do. I mean, Shoaib, poor guy, he was sitting minding his own business, completely free of doing any of this madness an hour and 20 minutes ago, and I got a text from me saying, right, let's do a live stream about Tommy, so
like I said, I'm always there, especially as I said, I don't think a lot of people know, but I've actually met Tommy, I've met him, I've spoken to him, and I know what kind of guy he is. And when people say, the thing is, for me, as much as I've been told by many people, you just need to mind your own business, you've got enough of your own troubles, don't get involved. And some of the days I sit there and I look at, the great people like yourself, like Voice of Wales, like Paul Thorpe, Tommy Robinson. When I see you guys, and then there is somebody who's saying things about you guys, saying, oh, they're racist, they're fascist, then I have to speak up, because what is the point of me being, seeing the hospitality from you guys and then just sit there and let people slag you? Like you just said, you wouldn't be able to slag any of my friends in front of me. I don't care if they're going to find or not. For me, I am like this. I am a type of guy. I'm very open. Everybody knows me. I'm an open book. Everybody knows everything about me, because this is how I intend to live my life. People need to know who I am. Otherwise, if you have these secrets and everything, then people think, oh, maybe he's a liar, or there is a lot of things. But as I said, for me, I would never ever back down when it comes to defending people. And like I said, Tommy Robinson, he's not a racist. There were a lot of people who attacked me, not like attacked me physically, but they surrounded me, 8, 9 of these jihadis, and they were telling me that, oh, why do you say these things about Tommy Robinson? You have no idea. Tommy Robinson is, Tommy Robinson is not a nice guy. He's a racist. You have no idea what he's done. And all I said to them, that, I have met the guy. No, he's not a racist. He's not that. And till the time that Tommy Robinson actually tells me that he wants to deport me, I'm not going to listen to you guys, because I have heard from the man himself, and he doesn't say he hate me. All he asked me was this. He said to me, how did you get into the country? And I said, I came through legally, through immigration, through the Home Office. I have done my fingerprints. I have given them my file, which shows if I'm a criminal or not in Saudi Arabia. And then at the end of the day, I came here, I worked here. I have also paid my taxes, yet I cannot get anything back. I'm not allowed to get any benefits, which again, for me, is absolutely fine. I have actually sent an email to the Home Office 2 years ago, when I thought they're going to give me my British nationality. And I said to them, if you give me my British nationality, can you keep this email? And I will forward you that email, Richard, and then you can show it to the people later on. So this email was me telling them, can you take this email as a proof that me telling you, I do not want nothing to do with the state benefits for the next 5 years. I don't want it. I don't need it. You rather give it to someone else, even though I'm paying into it. I've been paying into it since 2018. And guess what? I never got in a reply from them. Never. I said to them, can you please not give me the benefits? I don't want it. I come here. I want to work hard like I've always been doing. And I don't care about your benefit. Give it to someone who needs it. And guess what? No reply whatsoever. Nothing.
No reply. No.
Zero.
It doesn't surprise me. 1,700 people watching now. I mean, that's really good for, what day is today? Is it Wednesday night, 10 o'clock?
Which is just then
watching something really exciting like Tom Bradby on the ITV News, or even GB News. But no, you're here on the channel watching us, and that shows, it encourages. Look, I mean, like I say, this channel that I'm on is not monetized, so I don't make a penny out of this. But I know that there's people watching this that are given hope by what we're doing. And that's why this is so important, Shoaib, that we are giving people hope. They're seeing that we can discuss all this sensibly and rationally. But again, let's talk about practical things about what we can do. There's one of the people in the comments asked the question, we know what the problems are. What do we do? Okay, well, these are my this is what I recommend in your local area. Okay, wherever you live, and we've done this in the little town I live in, Northern Ireland. We've done this. We've got organized. just people from very varied backgrounds, you know, ex-soldiers, you know, a couple of ex-policemen, prison officers, Christians, you know, all sorts of different people have come together in my town, respectable, good people, and started protesting about this sort of stuff, and formed a little community of people. Sometimes there's only 10 of us, sometimes there's 100, sometimes more. I mean, when we had after the brutal murder of the 3 girls, we had about 200 or 300 people, you know, protesting in the town, you know. So what I would suggest is start building stuff locally, even if it's just 2 or 3 people that have got exactly the same ideology. And where do you get the ideology from? Well, what I recommend is you go on the pledge. So if you've signed the pledge, right, and this is something, again, when I get the time, guys, because one of the problems I've got is I'm literally ripped asunder trying to work and look after my family and do stuff with the pledge and do live streams and then catch up on all the news so you know what's going on. So, but what I will do at some point with the pledge, or what we will do, small team of us, we'll basically email people by postcode and say, right, guys, have a meeting in your area, and we'll find a way of networking people, because obviously we can't just put everybody in a sort of
And man, we need a lot of help here in Wales. We need a lot of help in Wales, because we are here just 3-4 of us, like Dan, me, Stan, and Steph, 4 of us, and there are a few other people, but man, we need so much help. I have no idea.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, that's the whole thing. Sorry, someone just going to get binned off the comments. I'm not going to have people slagging Tommy off. Oh, lost them. Where is it? I hope I didn't ban the wrong person there. Just bear with me. There we go. That's gone. But yeah, I mean, so we get organized in your local areas. And like I say, the pledge is going to be, I'm going to have to work out a mechanism for doing that with the pledge, because obviously I can't share people's data with each other. But if I can find a mechanism of putting people together in local areas, like say for instance, there's probably, I don't know, I mean, we've got like 50,000 plus genuine people signed up to the pledge. They're spread out throughout the country. So there's probably, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 in Wales. I don't know. I haven't even checked. So
yeah,
it's fine.
Like I said, we never get any good turnout when we have whenever we have our events. You know, with Voice of Wales, we don't really get anybody. So you know, we would love the support if there are people who are willing to come down. Actually, our last in February that we did, there were some really good people who came from England, and they supported us. Obviously, it is hard for people to travel, because I know the train tickets are extremely expensive. I don't know why they've done it. It's like when you travel from England to Wales, it's like you're going to a different country. It's like
it's crazy,
they charge you super money. Yeah, and I understand that. But it would be good to have local people here, because unfortunately what we have here is the Islamists. They are so powerful. The lefties are so powerful, and it's only because they are all paid to do these things. You know, we don't get paid. We don't get money. And the thing, we don't even have our own money to do anything. So yeah, it is a bit.
I know.
It's a bit hard.
This is the whole problem. I mean, this is the whole problem. This is why I laugh when people call us grifters. I mean, you know, people have very kindly supported me, you know, this past year, really, and it's made a massive difference. But you know, we literally don't get any money for doing this, and it is pretty much like having three or four full-time jobs. I mean, what is it? It's 10:10 now on a Wednesday night. This is the 3rd live stream I've done this week. Most of them have gone on for over an hour. So you know, it's like it's a big time commitment. And when we come on, we've got to know what we're talking about, or else we just look stupid and we're not doing anyone any favors, you know. So we've got to have stuff that we can talk about. So what I would say with the pledge, we'll try and start doing this idea of pledge events. I need to work out a mechanism for doing it, because I've got the emails. I know who the people are in the different areas, but it's a question of finding a way of getting you lot together by area. You know what I mean? And that I think is going to be the challenging thing. But it's not insurmountable, because obviously, you know, it's just as simple as sending an email. So that's what we'll have a look at. Pledge events they're a really good idea. Now, like I say, I think we need to get the pledge up over 100,000 and up to 1 million before the next election. I would like to have 1 million people on the pledge by the next election, and then we can really make a difference. So here's a plan, guys. Right? We've looked at what's wrong. We've looked at what's going on with Tommy. We've got to stop this happening, and the only way we're going to stop this happening is by getting real political power. Most of you will know, and you'll think it's a pipe dream because Reform are soaring in the polls. But guys, I don't trust them. I do not trust Farage. I don't trust Zia Youssef. I don't trust Tice or the other fella, the token working class lad, Lee Anderson. Don't trust any of them, because what they did to Rupert Lowe, and I'm not speaking out of turn because the case has been completely dismissed by the police. There's no further action. When he was accused, again, lawfare, dragged through the process. And again, the process is the punishment. Exactly what's going to happen with Tommy. Yeah. The process is the punishment. And if they manage to get a conviction, then you've got an even bigger punishment. What they did to Rupert Lowe shows they're no different to Keir Starmer's Labour Party. They will do exactly the same to their political opponents. They've already done it. They've already banned us. I cannot join the Reform Party. I don't want to. But if I wanted to, I couldn't. I'm banned from joining the Reform Party. Why? Because I was in a party called For Britain that wasn't fascist, wasn't far right, but had very, very real concerns about demographics and certain religious extremist elements. Let's just say it that way, because again, we're very aware of this channel that we're on and what we can and can't say. But so we need to have an alternative, and we need to find a way to protect Tommy. And the best way of protecting Tommy is get a government that is for the people, by the people. In other words, real people actually get into power. People like Rupert Lowe, people like Ben Habib, people like Tommy, people like Carl Benjamin, people like Maya Tusi, Shoaib. Yes. Good salt of the earth people get into politics and get elected. That's what we need in this country. So how do we do that? Well, if we can't do it through Reform, what do we do? Well, this is where the pledge comes in. And I know I keep harping on about it. If you sign the pledge and we have hundreds of thousands or 1 million people signed up to the pledge, we're in a very, very strong position to influence any election and go to parties and say, if you do this, if you do everything that's in sign up to everything that's in the pledge, we'll back you. If you break that covenant, you'll be out of power the next election, right? Yeah. So that's potential. And we've said this is the Magna Carta for the 21st century, and it very well could be. It could be even more powerful than Magna Carta, because Magna Carta was for barons. It wasn't really for the working class folk. So that's one of the things we do. Then we start getting people organized on the ground in every single local area up and down the country. And that's very important, because obviously at the minute, the United Kingdom movement is very London-centric. Not everybody can afford to get to London. There are millions of people up and down this country that agree with absolutely everything that we're doing. We need to find them. We need to teach them how to do this right. We need to explain. And again, I don't mean this in a patronizing way, but we need to explain why the pledge is the ideology that we really need to follow. And once we've done that, then we can get them involved in politics. We can get them knocking doors. We can get them delivering leaflets. We can get them doing their own activism, their own protests, and we don't have to have anything to do with it, because if they signed the pledge, we know what they all believe. Because that and the good thing about the pledge is, Shoaib, it keeps out the extremists. It keeps out the far right extremists. It keeps out far left extremists. It keeps out Islamist extremists. Because if you're any of those things, you can't in good conscience sign it. And if you do sign it and then you break the rules of the pledge, well then, you've broken the pledge, So that's part of the solution. And again, I do think that we need to start looking at history and culture and religion. And I was saying it the other night, politics is downstream of culture and history, but history and culture are downstream of Christianity and religion. Because let's get it right. Every single major religion that we talk about, apart from like Hindus and Sikhs and stuff like that, but even Sikhs to a certain extent, all of them have come out of the Judeo-Christian stream. Islam is a to a certain extent. I mean, from a Christian point of view, it would be viewed as heretical because they don't believe in the divinity of Christ. But it's still an offshoot of the Judeo-Christian heritage, because it's very much based on the. A
lot of the things are similar in both. They're
similar. Yeah. Now, obviously, I believe it's in error because I very much believe in Christianity, believe that Jesus Christ is God come in the flesh. Islam's core is denying that, but the fact that it's denying that shows that it's come out of it. If that makes any sense, it shows that it's part of the same stream. So we've got to understand how important religion is. And if you read Tom Holland's book Dominion, he goes into a lot of detail. And again, this is for our atheist friends. He goes into a lot of detail in that book Dominion about how every single ideology that has built Western culture, comes out of Christianity. It's incredible. I mean, he even talks about how Marxism and socialism came out of Christianity. It really is, and even atheism. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you couldn't make it up. So these things are important that people have the ability to discuss this. But the problem we've got, Shoaib, and you'll be aware of this, there's a new definition of Islamophobia that means you, next time the police come and knock on your door, if they get this on the statute book, you could be arrested for Islamophobia as a Muslim.
Yeah, no, and I think this is a fake word. This shouldn't be allowed in the first place. And you know, the funny thing is, living in Saudi Arabia, I'm now living in the UK because I lived my whole life in Saudi Arabia. So I've spent almost 28 years in Saudi Arabia and almost 10 years in the UK now. So I can literally tell you the difference. And the difference is, in Saudi Arabia, we lived in peace. We lived in peace with all the Christians, the Hindus, the Sikhs, and everybody else. We literally live in so much peace. We never had any problems. And unfortunately, the problem here is now that the Muslims in the Middle East are so liberal in comparison to the Muslims in the West. And these are the Muslims who did not come from anywhere. They were actually born in the UK. Their parents were born in the UK. This is how extremist these people are. They're absolutely brainwashed in a way that they cannot live in peace with other people. And then the only thing that they can do is just what you've said. They bring in out these special terms, these fancy terms by Islamophobia and all of these things. And you know, you would say to them, like, how is it that you have Islamophobia, but you don't have anything that is for the Christians or for the Jew? Because I have seen it myself in Swiss Cottage, which is it's in North London, a very heavily Jewish area, where you will see these pro-Pallies turning up with their hateful flag, with their hateful marches, calling out the Israeli people. And not only that, recently I did a video where I promoted this White History Month, and somebody was commenting on there saying that, oh, you know what, we are going to find out where you work, and we're going to turn up and we're going to do a protest out there to tell them not to hire you. Again, you know, this is the type, this should be criminalized. And I've taken screenshots of it. And when I go to the police, they tell me that, oh, we don't think this is a threat. Well, we think it's fine. You know, we can't do anything. Sorry. That's all I hear. And not only that, when I get so annoyed by this, I literally just say to them, oh, you know, I'm not shouting at them, but I start speaking to them in a louder voice. You know what the police do? They just hang up on my face. And I've got all these calls recorded. And now there's a new thing. I don't know if I've told you this, Richard, but the police is after me after the last time. Now it's been 4 months that they have my phone. And now they've been harassing me, asking me for my ex account. They're saying, oh, you need to give us your ex account. And I'm a guy who lived in the UK for 10 years. I don't have as much as a speeding ticket, Richard. I'm not in the books. I am not a criminal. I wasn't a criminal back in Saudi Arabia. I am not a criminal in the UK, but yet the way they are treating me, it's like a criminal. And I think, if you don't mind, I do have that video, and it's like 30 to 40-second long video where I actually got arrested. If you don't mind, I will play that for the people to actually see what it is that they have caused me. And I was only there for 15 hours. But then you can relate that to Tommy Robinson, how his kids feel, how his friends feel, how Richard, Paul Job and other people, you know, Voice of Wales and all these people feel when they know he's not coming home anymore. Like, you know, you will, for me, when I got the news, people were saying, oh, you know, Tommy's free, Tommy's free. I did a post where I said, you know, I'm praying for Tommy, and I hope that, you know, there is justice in the British justice system that I've heard of, and I hope that he can be free. But then later on, when people told me, oh, he's free, I never did a post, Richard. You know what? I said I will do a post when I see the man in flesh, when I know he's out with his family, he's gone away on a vacation, because that's what he needs right now. He needs alone time with his family. He don't need to come out and do more and more things in like activism. Not just yet. He needs his family, and the family needs him. He got kids, he got friends. You know, you need to think of him. And I couldn't have think about that until I got arrested. And I was only there for 15 hours, and it changed my whole mindset. It literally, but you know, I'm trying to do what I can do best. I lost my livelihood. I can't go to places. I'm scared. And like I said, if you want me to, I can play the video, and then people see it for themselves. Exactly what I mean.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it from your computer, but we can try.
Oh, I can do it from my computer.
Yeah. Oh, can you? Okay, well, let's do it then. Yeah, let's do it. Let's play that now. If you set that up, I'll just keep chatting while you just get busy with it. Get it all set up. I mean, I think what we're seeing, and this isn't new, and what I find very depressing is, I was watching GB News there before we came on to do a live stream. That's one of the reasons to do the live stream. And they were quite right. And I want to mention this, actually. They were quite rightly mentioning Lucy Connolly and the fact that she's been, she's lost her appeal and the scandal of that. And it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting what's happened to Lucy Connolly. But what I do find disturbing about GB News in that debate about Lucy Connolly, they didn't once mention Tommy Robinson. It was that fella from Spiked, who I don't really have much time for, Brendan, whatever his name is. And is it Brendan O'Neill? I can't remember anyway. But the Spiked editor. And he was talking very eloquently about Lucy Connolly and freedom of speech. Didn't once mention Tommy, So this is the problem that we've got, that there are people that are supposedly right wing, like Matt Goodwin. Well, Brendan O'Neill doesn't pretend to be right wing. He pretends to be a lefty, but the reality is these people just don't seem to care about Tommy, who is a work. He's really the only working class hero that we've got in the UK now. There isn't anybody else that you could say is a working class hero, and so we've got. Yeah. So I think what we've got to do. What about? And this is another thing. What about getting the hashtag? Let's think. Hashtag I stand with Tommy. We've done the I am Tommy thing, and we can still do that as well. But let's have a new hashtag, I stand with Tommy, because when this happens, this court case, we will have to stand with him, and we will have to stand up for him, because I have a very real fear that they're going to try and use this to hit him with a very, very heavy sentence. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's very, very serious what they're trying to, what they're trying to do. So, So are we good to go with that show? Have you got that operational? Do you think? Let's try it. Let's see if you can get this playing. What's looking good? Do I need to add it?
Yeah, I think it should be fine.
I think I need to add it. I'll add it. Yeah, there we go.
I think it's cool.
Yes, I don't want to call them. Love you. No, nothing going off. I'm going to living room tomorrow. Living room for mommy, please.
Yeah, that was it. That was my arrest.
I mean, and let's just think. What was your heinous crime there, Shoaib? What had you actually done to get arrested that day?
Well, I think according to them that I was being a racist. Like I said, I cannot discuss the whole thing, which we will discuss once this case is dropped. We are going to discuss about it. But the thing was, it was to do with me being a racist to the Muslim community, and being a Muslim myself, being being a Pakistani myself. Apparently, I'm a racist. But this is what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
And like I said, I'm not even I have never ever had any dealings with the police. If anything, I've always been respectful to the police. And it was the lefties who used to say things about the police online, and I used to go on those videos and I used to do a reaction video saying that, oh no, trust the police. The British police are actually a lot better than the Pakistani police and the police that you have anywhere else. But unfortunately, now the same people that used to see me saying all these things about them, they're laughing at me. They said, oh, are these the police that you used to say, oh my God, police are the best, look what they've done. Look what they've done to you. And I was like, what, I was in there, and this is what I said. The reason why I wanted to play this video is because I don't know if you've heard in the background, that was my wife crying, and she's a white woman. And I've got a special needs daughter as well, and they didn't know what was going on.
They don't, and you know what? They don't care, and they take all your electronic equipment. They take your phones, they take your computers.
They have already taken my phone.
It's such an attack on you. on your civil liberties, you know. And of course, when they get the phone, it's an intelligence gathering operation. Once they've got your phone, they want to be able to literally dig into everything that you're looking at and everybody that you're talking to. That's the sick and twisted idea behind taking your phone. But I was watching. I mean, I was amazed. I was watching this GB News thing, and Matt Goodwin was interviewing. There was typically, they always have a lefty there, and then they had that dreadful Gwain fella. Now I don't know if you know Gwain. Gwain's Nigel Farage's bagman. You know, it's like he's like Baldrick to Blackadder, right? And he, you know, he's quite bright, and he you know, he seems to spend a lot of time in the pub and all that sort of stuff, and smokes a lot. Nothing wrong with that, but I suppose that's hanging about with Nigel too long. But the bottom line is, he turned around and said, "No, we're not a police state. This isn't a police state." Well, do you know what? Wake up and smell the coffee. This is a police state that we're living in. That's exactly what we're living in. We've been living in a police state for a very, very long time. And the fact that we're self-censoring, the fact that we're scared and worried about what we say on social media, the fact that when we do a post, you go back and you look at it and think, oh, maybe we need to change that. That shows you that we're living in a police state, because we're not inciting anything.
No.
But I'm going to tell you something, guys. Listen, I warned about the online safety bill. Now, obviously, anything that's protecting kids is fine in that bill. But they went, and this was under the Conservative government. Nadine Dorries, you know, that lovely, fluffy, bunny person. You know, she's so sweet and wholesome and all the rest of it. Well, she was the one that was behind the Online Safety Act. So she's the one that allowed all those people, when Two-Tier Keir, the commissar, came into power last year, when people got upset about 3 beautiful little girls being butchered by a jihadi. When that happened, Nadine's policy and Nadine's law kicked into process, and they were able to drag people away from their families and lock them up for long periods of time. That's down to the Online Safety Act, without a shadow of a doubt. So we've got that, and I've been warning people about that for at least 4 years. And now we've got this definition of Islamophobia, which is insane. It talks about Muslimness. It includes warning that if you're speaking about grooming gangs, you're an Islamophobe. No, you're actually just someone that cares for the daughters of England. All this stuff's going to be a catch-all, and there are going to be a lot more people getting banged up if the Labour Party manage to get this on the statute book, because it eats straight to the heart of religious freedom. Because in the same way that Islam has a right to critique Christianity, well, Christianity has a right to critique Islam. Atheists have a right to critique Islam and Christianity. Hindus have a right to say they don't believe in Islam, and Muslims have a right to say they don't. So, but of course, the reality is it actually doesn't protect any other religion. It means that the state-sponsored religion of the United Kingdom will become Islam, because it's only there to protect the Islamic faith.
Yeah, when people talk about the freedom of speech that I hear a lot in the UK, you know, first of all, we know now we don't have any freedom of speech. But when they say freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and like you just said, so you will go out, well, when I go to London, when I go to central London, I exit Piccadilly Circus from the tube station. The first thing that I hear is people playing Quran in such a loud voice. And look, I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't want to hear that. I don't, because in Saudi Arabia, we never heard that. In Saudi Arabia, Muslim, you were not allowed to do this. You were not allowed to look at the non-Muslims or the Christians or the atheists or anyone else and say to them, look, you are wrong because your religion is wrong, ours is better. We were not allowed to do that. You were not allowed in Saudi Arabia, a Muslim country, to tell them that you're superior to them because of your religion. But unfortunately, in the UK, there is no freedom of speech unless you're a Muslim. You know, let me tell you this: no freedom of speech unless you're criticizing Christianity, like you just said, or Hinduism, or Buddhism, or anything else. The only safety net there is for criticizing any religion, it's Islam. And the reason why, this is the term that has been introduced as a ban on your and mine freedom of speech, which is Islamophobia. So they have introduced Islamophobia for everybody other than the Muslims, because if you criticize Islam, or if I criticize Islam, being a Muslim myself, and I say, look, you know, okay, I'm a Muslim, but there are things that I don't agree with. There are things that I wouldn't take upon. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, you know what, you need to do this as the book says. Maybe I would say, you know, you need to exclude certain things. If I do that, then I'm doing Islamophobia. Like, I'm part of Islamophobia. But if I sit there and say, you know what, Richard, your Bible is wrong, Christianity is wrong, I am superior, oh, that is fine, that is his free, that is my freedom of speech. And the funny thing is, this is a Christian country. UK has always been a Christian country, and for me, will always will be a Christian country. So when you are sitting in a Christian country, and there are people, well, I wouldn't say people, there are invaders and illegal aliens attacking your religion, your culture, the culture that, and the people's culture, the people that let them in from the kindness of their heart. So these are the white people who have let these immigrant, illegal or legal, like people like me as well. When people say, oh, I could have gone anywhere, then why did you come to the UK? Go anywhere else. If you're coming to the UK, it should be, I came to the UK because I like the culture of the UK. I came to the UK because of the way they do things in the UK, the British way, right? And if there are laws driven by Christianity, then let it be, because in Saudi Arabia, there are many laws that are driven by the religion Islam, because that is Islamic country, and that is fine. The same way, anything that goes in accordance to Christianity, well, that's fine. That is, it should be like that, because this is a Christian country. But then you have these Muslim people in the Christian country, they are complaining and lying and using racism and using Islamophobia. Now this is a new word that has come on, and you are right, I can very well get arrested. And the reason why I say things that I say about my own religion, which is Islam, because I went to a Islamic school, a religious Islamic school, where I was sexually harassed for 4 years, 5 days a week, from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. It was every single day for 4 years, and I've endured that. So if any, and till today, I've got marks on my legs, when they used to hit me because I wouldn't do what they wanted me to do, or they would be worried that I will make a complaint that, this teacher was sexually harassing me. And they used to hit me so they can make it look like that I'm a bad student. And these are the things that they do to control it. So if you're telling me that, me being angry to these people is wrong, then you are saying the same thing that we now have heard from the people who have silenced all these women and children who got raped by these people. And they were like, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that these people have raped you, because guess what? You're a racist. Or don't you dare to speak against your rapist, because you are a racist. So shut up, be happy that you got raped by this guy, and go. Otherwise, we're going to arrest you. That's exactly what they done to me. They said to me, yes, you got sexually harassed. What do you want us to do? Well, what I want to do is, I do not want to see more kids being sexually harassed the way I got sexually harassed. Is that my crime that I want to stop these people to do something that has happened to me in the past? I know more than 30 kids that went to the school with me, and all of them got sexually harassed. It wasn't me. Some of them got a lot worse than what I've got, right? So if these are your prevent police officers who are white, who have not been to Islamic school, and telling me, a guy who's actually been through that, oh, you know what, you are wrong. Why don't you go put your kids through that school? And when something happened to your kids, do not come back and complain, because you are okay happening to other kids. Why the hell should we give a shit about you guys? Why should we care? And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear, man. I just, it just came out. But
no, I mean, you've got every right. I mean, and the thing is that there's a lot of precedent for this in certain Islamic teachings and in the hadiths, and there's all sorts of very strange stuff in there. And again, because it's such a massive body of literature, it's very difficult. But I remember there was a guy I used to do videos with called Mufassal Islam, and Mufassal left Islam. He was an apostate, right? And he was brilliant. I mean, he was like, some of the stuff he said, honestly, I mean, my toes were curling. I'm thinking, you're going to get us killed, fella. You know what I mean? I mean, he was like, this was way back in, I don't know, 2017. And we're sitting there doing these videos. There's any wonder I got banned from Facebook. We're sitting there doing these videos on Facebook, and he's going, because he was a Dawi, so he was an Islamic evangelist. He was someone that went around and taught people Islam.
Yeah,
and he just went, no, I don't believe any of that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's what he was, right? So he knew it inside out, and a bit like there's another friend of mine. I'll not mention his name, but he's an older gentleman now. But he would take me straight to the heart of the scriptures. He was actually a Sharia judge, and he became a Christian. And he's still on the run in hiding, right? So he never puts his face out there publicly, because he's still on a fatwa on it. So there's all these great people, and Mufassal would just quote from the scriptures and say, oh yes, well this is why that they think it's okay to basically do whatever to 9-year-old girls and so on and so forth. It's because of Muhammad and Aisha and all this. And he would give you chapter and verse. He'd give you chapter and verse on the verses of the sword. And we had a lot of people like that. But you know what? Nearly all of them were scared off. Mufassal came to me one day. He says, Richard, he says, he's a Bangladeshi guy, really nice guy. He says, Richard, I'm going to have to go back to Islam. I was like, what? He says, but you don't believe it. He says, he says, that's not the point. He says, they're going to kill my family. That's what they said to him. And this was in London.
And they will.
London. And he went, yeah. And he went back to Islam and because he'd kids and he'd a couple of, he was Muslim, he had a couple of wives, yeah. But he was a good guy. He was a good guy. And we lost him. And then I don't know what happened to him. I haven't seen him since. There was another, I think I told this story before. There's another Bangladeshi lady when we first started after Ariana Grande and Borough Market and the attack on PC Keith Palmer that he bravely fought the jihadi off and he was killed, murdered. When we did our demos there was a woman, and she was a Bangladeshi woman, and she started coming to the events, and she only had one leg. She'd been in some sort of accident, and this woman was not anti-Islam. She was not against the religion, but she came onto Facebook, left us all a message, and said, "I cannot have any contact with you guys anymore. My family have threatened me. If I stay in contact with you guys, they're going to kill me." That was her older brothers. So who's the bigots here? Who are the people that are being intimidated and being bullied? The hatred and the bigotry is coming from the far left, and it's coming from Islamists. And the biggest victims of that Islamist intimidation are people in their own community who are either like you, speaking out, saying, "I'm still." Lubna's another example. I mean, what a great lady, intelligent, articulate, very, very moderate. I mean, look, I mean, I'm quite opinionated, let's just put it that way. But she was very moderate, very measured, very intelligent in a way that she debated and spoke. Gone. She's gone. She can't do it anymore. Why? Because she was threatened. Who she was threatened by? Was she threatened by the National Front or the BNP or the far right? No. She was threatened by people in her own community. So, and this is happening up and down the country. There was a guy that used to come on the channel. Well, Mo Fires was one. Mo Fires, Pakistani guy, became a Christian, had to change his identity, flee his community. Wow. And there was another Christian guy, I forget his name now, but Nissa Hussain was nearly beaten to death in Bradford because he became a Christian. And his family was, that they were put out of the house. And this is in England, in the last 10 years.
And you talk about Bradford, there was a story that came out not long ago where there was a guy who said something about, he swear at a Muslim guy, and he said something about his about his God and everything. And when they found out where he lived, they burned his car down. And not only that, then this guy had to go to the mosque and apologize to the mosque. And the mosque people had to come out, make a video and say, leave them alone. Where were the police in all this? Like, literally, I want to know. So for me, I get arrested because they say something online. And this is just my opinion. Online, you see people saying also, like the thread that I get, some of the threads that if I were to show you, I showed it to Dan, I showed it to Steph, when they see those threads and they get the same threads, some of these threads, they know exactly where I live. And, obviously with me, when the V-Day came, what I did, I literally taken all of my house and I put all the British flags in there, and I did a big video and I said, thank you to everything. Yeah. They didn't even like that. They were calling me traitor and calling me all these things. But I was thinking, why would I be a traitor when I'm living in the UK? Why wouldn't I sing the song of the UK while being in the UK? I should be, because I'm grateful to the UK. That's the whole point. It was for it. But then I was getting threats left, right, and center, telling me they know where I live. They're going to come and do this, that, and the other. But again, unfortunately, they can say that. But when I say it and I go to the police, it's, either they can't do anything or they just close the case without even telling me. Like, the funny thing is, I report something and then months later, I called them up and I said, hey, can you tell me what's going on? They'll be like, yeah, the case has been closed. Well, you didn't even tell me. You didn't even inform me that you're closing the case, because I'm waiting for some sort of reaction. But in all honesty, I've been let down by the police on numerous occasions. There was an event we went to where were these Muslims were shouting at me, saying things, calling me a Paki in front of the police officer. The police officer didn't say anything. When I spoke to the police, He said, well, I didn't hear anything. And I was like, if that's it, then,
Yep.
what can me or people can do? Like, if I am being a Muslim, being a Pakistani, being an immigrant, facing
Yep.
all these things, I only can imagine what white people go through, what it is that Tommy is going through. Believe me, nobody would want to go through what he's going through, because people think, oh yeah, he's famous, he got nothing. The guy's lost everything. The guy's lost his livelihood. He's in jail. People are outside who's supporting him. That is good. You should support him. But you need to know the reality of it as well. The reality is, the guy I was in jail for 15 hours. And that 15 hours has turned my whole life upside down. Just 15 hours. This thing has, my parents are worried, who don't live in the UK, right? My parents are worried. My brothers and sisters are worried. Everybody that I come through is so worried, and they keep telling me, man, you need to stop. You need to stop this. And then I wanted to stop. There are days when I sit down and I say to everybody, do you think it's worth it? This is what my father said to me. My father said, do you think it's worth it? You're fighting a fight that is not your fight, because you're not white. You're not British. You're not from the UK. You're not born there. And you are fighting a fight which you shouldn't be there. Because the thing is, if you're fighting a fight for the white people, imagine you get deported from the UK. What will you do then? Where would you go? You want to go and live in Pakistan, because that's exactly where they're going to deport you to. What would you do then? So, and this, Richard, if I were to come out tomorrow and say, guess what? Tommy Robinson is a racist. All the white people are racist. I'm a Muslim. I want Sharia law. I want everything to be Muslim here. I will get my job back in a heartbeat.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the fight that I don't need to fight, man.
This is the crazy thing. This is the crazy thing. Now, somebody just flashed up on the screen there. Lee Rigby anniversary, 22nd of May. Do you know what, guys? I'd forgotten about that. Shame on me. Yeah, I ended up wandering into a Hamas event. I think it was in 2021. And that was the anniversary of Lee Rigby. And I had a little bit, let's just say, a little bit of an altercation in the middle of London. Which could have got, which I was a bit silly doing it, but anyway, I survived and lived to tell the tale. But and these guys were just, we don't care about Lee Rigby. We don't. All we're bothered about is Israel, and well, not Israel. They don't, Palestine. And the frightening thing about the altercation that I had with that, and there was, it wasn't as big as the demos they are now, but there was, there was a good few hundred people wandering about with Pali flags and river to the sea, all that sort of stuff. And after the altercation, this guy came up to me and he showed me his warrant card. And he looked Middle Eastern, looked like he was Arabic. And I said, you're a cop? I says, oh, he says, yeah, I'm undercover cop. I said, oh, that's great. He says, so, what do you think about all this Palestine nonsense? He said to me, it's not nonsense. He says, free Palestine. This was an undercover cop. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, and I was like, that really made me think. And I was thinking, right, okay, we have a real problem. If the undercover cops are sympathizing with the Muslim Brotherhood, then this country is deeper down the rabbit hole than we could ever imagine. I think that's, do you know what, Shoaib? I think the problem we've got is, right, I think the problem that we've got is that people don't realize how much danger we're in. The general population is asleep. I think the state, I think MI5, the Home Office, probably the Foreign Office, people in the military, people in the police realize how much on a knife edge this country is, and that the reason they're not standing up to the Islamists and the jihadists is because they know how powerful they are, and they know that if they flex, that there could be very, very real massive problems in this country. Look what happened last year. Whenever the riots were going on, and they weren't organized by the far right, but of course, hate without hope, Starmer and his cronies, the media, stirred the Muslim population in England to an absolute frenzy. And there was mobs of Muslim men from the so-called Muslim Defense League roaming around looking for white English lads to beat up, and they did, right? And of course, that's all. A lot of that's been hushed up and kept quiet. But the fear that the police and the military and the security service have is that there will be some sort of Islamist insurrection. Now, think about this. There's at least, this was before the Israel-Gaza thing, right? There was 43,000 people on the watch list then, right? Before Israel-Gaza. Goodness, I was talking to a guy, and he lectures. I'm not going to say where he lectures, but he's an intelligence guy, and he lectures at a university and teaches people about intelligence. And he told me that the radicalization is so big now since the Israel Gaza war that they don't know how many there are. They have no clue. There's so many people radicalized, they've absolutely no idea. And there's a synchronization between the left and the Islamists, and the government know. The government know when they can put. I mean, they said they had 500,000 people on the streets. They didn't have 500,000 people on the streets at the weekend. There maybe half of that at the most, but they had a big crowd out in London, right? It's difficult to get a big, massive crowd like that out, and this is what people just don't realize what we're up against. And there's no easy answers to do it. To do what we need to do legitimately, we've got to do it through the ballot box. We've got to do it through promoting Christian values and promoting British culture. We've got to be proud of our country, proud of our God, and we've got to get out and vote on those lines. Unfortunately, that it sounds like a sort of sectarian type thing. It probably will come down to that eventually, where it's going to be Christians voting on Christians and people that like yourself who are aligned to Christians voting in one way, and the Islamists and the leftists voting in another way. And I think that's what's going to happen. So, guys, I mean, we're going to wrap this up in a minute because we've had a great show up. What a great guest, guys. I mean, go on, give everyone your channels before we close this off.
Oh yeah, I will.
Yeah, give everyone your channels. If you can drop them into the chat again.
I'll do that now. So everyone can see. Just get it.
Yeah. And I'm going to try and get mine up as well, because I want as many of you guys as possible to go, and I want as many people as possibly can to go onto Counter Media. So I'm going to share this.
Yeah, I've put mine as well in there.
So Shoaib, if you get your stuff on the screen there, mate,
it's there.
And okay, cool, and I'll get mine in there too. So let's have a look. Okay.
I think there's also another thing that I don't think a lot of people know about Saudi Arabia as well. We never see brotherhood in Saudi Arabia because they're banned. But unfortunately, somehow they are allowed in the UK. And that is so, oh my God. It's crazy to see that. But or Counter Media.
I know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy that they're doing that. That they're basically allowing.
Do you know what, Richard? I
Muslim
think
Brotherhood that is Hamas is.
Yeah, no, I was saying the good thing that we will do one thing whenever you get a chance. Yeah, whenever we get a chance, we will definitely go to Saudi Arabia, you and me, and then I can show you what exactly it is, and then you can just see it for yourself, and then maybe you can do what I did. Observe and report, and just see how how you felt and how everything was. So, yeah.
Well, unless hopefully what's his name? What do they call MDS? What's his name?
MBS. Yeah. Mohammed bin Salman, our
MDS. MDS. Well, hopefully MDS is progressive enough to let someone who's been called one of Tommy Robinson's henchmen.
No, he will. No, I'm sure he will let you in. He's a nice guy. He's an amazing. He's actually a very good.
It's not him I'm worried about. It's the lunatic, crazy ones I'm worried about. You know what I mean?
Oh no, you wouldn't need to worry about that. You're not going to Pakistan yet, so you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, that's I mean, Pakistan and Afghanistan would definitely be a no-no. I think Iraq and Syria
I wouldn't go either
as well. But yeah, and I wouldn't fancy going to Doha too much either. You know what I mean? But
no. But like I said, Saudi Arabia now is one of the best places. You've seen. Donald Trump was there a couple of days ago, and you can see the amazing interaction they have. You can see two leaders sitting there, and they're talking about positivity.
I was very impressed with it. I was very, very impressed because I thought this is what should happen and the way that people should behave.
Yeah.
And Trump didn't really compromise much.
No.
He was very diplomatic, but he didn't compromise. He was like he was very, very. I thought he was very generous to MDS and
yeah.
Whenever I say MDS, I always just think of pre-packed furniture.
No, it's MDS.
That's it. That's MDF. That's MDF. You know.
Yeah.
But MDS, no. But yeah, I mean, well, listen, I mean, that's one for way in the future. You know what I mean? Shoaib, I lost you. Where have you gone?
Yeah.
He's disappeared.
Oh,
Lost you there for a minute, brother.
Okay, see you now. Yeah.
I thought the Saudi secret police had got you there for a minute. You know. But
no, they're actually really good. Yeah, I'm okay with them. I'm more worried about the British police.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I think we all are. To be honest with you, I mean, you know, I've been wondering when my door's going to come flying up the hole for a good few years now, guys. If you can go onto Counter Media, that's the channel there. If you haven't subscribed already, please dive across, subscribe to Counter Media, go onto the pledge, sign the pledge.org.uk. And you know, when I get my act together and the other guys, because all of us have been busy, all of us had a lot of personal stuff going on, but when I get my act together, I will. There we go. There's Shoaib's coming up. Where is it? Here we are. There's Shoaib's YouTube channel, guys. So if you can all pile on there, follow Shoaib. If you're not following him already, follow Counter Media, and let's keep building this community. There's a lot of negativity been about in the last 6 months or so. Not 6 months, probably 3 months. That's all behind us now. We've got to get onto building our community up again, building Unite the Kingdom, building the pledge. We know what we're doing. We've got a plan, but the plan will not work if nobody does it. You know, there's no point in trying to lead something if nobody's following you. Then you're not a leader. You know, it's as simple as that. You know, so we need to really get on this stuff and make sure that we have an alternative to reform for the next general election, because again, I'm sorry to say it, I don't trust Farage. He doesn't get the threat that the country's facing, and what we need is people who do get the threat to stand and to be very, 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 very vocal about it. Shoaib, mate, give me your closing thoughts about Tommy, what we do, and how we help him.
I think at this point, everybody just needs to understand one thing, right? Whatever Tommy does from now on, obviously knowing that, because there were a lot of comments I've seen previously where people were talking about, why did he took down the documentary, shouldn't have. I understand what people are saying, but you need to know that this guy now, he needs to come home. It's been way too long. Even me as a guy that, as I said, I've just known him for very recently. But even for me, I think you don't need to like him. The thing is, don't agree with Tommy Robinson. You can call him everything you want to call him. You can say that he is totally against of what you believe in, what you like. But you need to know one thing. If they are putting Tommy Robinson in for these kind of charges, which, you know, they are minor, petty charges. If they are doing it, Tommy Robinson, do think that it is coming to you next time. You, like I said, you disagree with the guy. You can hate the guy for all I care. Hate him. But there is a justice system, which was the British justice system, which was one of the best justice system that people like me, immigrants like me, used to speak of, used to hear of, while being back in Saudi Arabia. When there was injustice done anywhere in the world, we used to pray that these people were in the UK, because we knew the justice will be served, because we knew the justice will be good. So I think we need to bring that. The justice system, the British justice system, needs to come back. And it should be for just one thing. Either you're right or you're wrong. It doesn't matter what religion, culture, what your political views are. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And this all should depend on the facts. Simple as that. But, you know, people sitting there and saying, oh, Tommy Robinson need to come out and he need to do this. No, he don't need to do anything. I think he's done enough. Then that is my opinion. For me, when I look at him, when I look at his family, when I look at his friend, when I look at the people who actually care and cry for him, I would say Tommy Robinson needs to come out and he needs to take a chill pill. He needs to relax. The guy has done enough. When he was told by everybody to take down the documentary, he did not take it down. He has done his job. The documentary has 100% filled his purpose. There's nothing else you could ask from that guy. He have lost his livelihood. You know, ask the children who are growing up without a father. Ask the friends who are growing up with watching their friend, that every time these people do something good, they feel guilty because one of their closest friends is rotten in jail. And like I said, it was a very good day yesterday, but again today they've given us another thing. But this is something that we all need to be worried about. If this is something that's happened to Tommy, it can happen to me, it can happen to Richard, it can happen to the lefties. But the lefties are so stupid, they're so brainless, they don't get it. They're so busy pushing their own hateful agenda. Do you think all these Islamists, these LGBTQ, these Black Lives Matter, they have combined together only to defeat us because we are the patriots. And once we are defeated, which hopefully never going to happen, but if they think they have defeated us, guess what's happening? They will be fighting between themselves. Then you're going to have Black Lives Matter with the Islamists. They'll be throwing the LGBTQ out because they don't believe in that. They're just doing it to get the votes, to get the people together so they can spew their hate they want to do. And nothing's going to happen. At the end of the day, the people will lose. The elites will go living in the Paris. And the worst thing is, we are the only one right now who are suffering. The elites, the rich people that I knew who had the money, they're not here anymore. They're gone. They don't live in the UK anymore. They don't care about it. It's us. We are suffering. So please, people, come together. Let's pray for Tommy that he comes out of it. I am praying for him to come out, and not because I want to come out and start something else. He has done enough. And I would say to you guys, obviously you are Tommy's best friends. I would say when he come out, obviously he might be angry because if they've put him the way they've treated him. And I think it will be down to you guys to calm him down and to say to him, you know what, Tommy, you have done enough. Sit on the sidelines, because we don't need Tommy doing these activism business. We need Tommy to be in the political party, have a political seat, so he can then change the country. What is the point of us doing activism when we get locked up in jail and another 4 years comes, someone else take over the country, they destroy, and destroy. All the people have left the country. People are leaving the country. And it's not because, people say, people leave in the country because they're running away. I can tell you how it feels because I've only been here 10 years. And if they ask me to leave the country today, I'll be heartbroken. So for somebody who was born and raised in this country, somebody who have lived in this country, work hard in this country, and now they have to leave their family behind, going to different countries so they don't need to deal with the police. Of course, you can't call them traitors or anything. These people have no other option. These people got no other choice. And if there's anybody who sits there and tell me, oh, we've got the money, but we're not leaving, you know what? You're lying. I don't believe you. I do not believe you for 1 second. Why would you be here if you could go anywhere else?
Yeah. Well, if I had the money, I wouldn't leave Shoaib. I'll be honest with you. I don't have the money, but I wouldn't.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Because we've all. Yeah, I think the reality is we've all got a lot of skin in the game, and I'm just waiting, guys. Somebody asked me to put this song up. It's the Where Are the Men of England song. Now this is promoting. I'm just going to give a shout out to this as well for this is for the 28th of June.
I'm going to be there,
London, and for some reason it's not.
Where are the men of England?
Can you hear that?
Those heroes,
just let me know.
Brave and bold.
I'll just mute us. Sure.
Where are the men who bled and died in foreign wars untold? The men who conquered all and stood for faith and love. The men who looked to guidance from the Father up above. Where are the men of England? The heroes brave and bold. The men who stood for faith and truth, whose honor wasn't sold. Where were the men of England when abusers so depraved took the daughters of our nation who forever they enslaved? What of the men of England that looked the other way? They took the country shilling, they never made their play. Where are the men of England, the heroes brave and bold? The men who stood for faith and truth, whose honor wasn't sold. The vile police and vice squad, they all seemed quite amused, as at the hands of groomers our daughters were abused. The politicians blamed the lads who stood up one and all. Most of all, they blamed the one who always took the fall. Where are the men of England, the heroes brave and bold? The men who stood for faith and truth, whose honor wasn't sold. Where are you, men of England? For now we all must stand. The future of our children is still within your hand. the future not yet written for this green and pleasant land. Where are you, men of England, the heroes brave and bold, the men who stood for faith and truth, whose honor wasn't sold? Where are the men of England, the heroes brave and bold, the men who stood for faith and truth, whose honor wasn't sold? Where are you, men of England? For now we all must stand. The future of our children is still within your hand. Where are you, men of England? For now we all must stand. The future of our children is still within your hand. The future not yet written for this green and pleasant land. Where are you, men of England, the heroes brave and bold, the men who stood for faith and truth, whose honor wasn't sold? Where are you, men of England? For now we all must stand. Is still within your hand.
Yeah, I thought it was muted. Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. So just mute that one. I'll get rid of that one. So yes, guys, listen, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm going to do a bit of boasting. I wrote the words to that song, and I used a little AI robot to do the music and do the singing. So so I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I mean, the words are powerful, to be honest with you. I think it's made a really, you know, it's made a really big impression. It's had about 500,000 views, I think, on all the different platforms that it's been on. So so yeah, if you get onto the different channels, if you can find that, it's on my Twitter somewhere. It's on most of my different YouTube channels. Just share it everywhere, because we want to get that song all over the place, because it sums up exactly the mood of the people that we're in. Guys, thanks everyone for watching. Shoaib, we've had nearly 2,000 people watching this all the way through.
Wow.
That's phenomenal, because I don't have a massive channel. You don't have a massive channel.
No,
we're doing something right there.
I usually
brother.
have 6 people watching me, and out of 6 of them, 3 of them are these Muslims swearing at me and shouting at me.
Well, they got put that Mohammed from Pakistan got put back in his box tonight. That's for sure. You know, so if you're still watching Mohammed, maybe you'll know better to mess with us next time.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. We're going to go now. We'll be doing this next Tuesday. I'm sure we'll be doing it before then. We were going to do this one tomorrow night, but we stopped because we had the situation with Tommy come up. So we did this. We did it tonight instead. Guys, thanks everyone for watching. See you all soon. Keep liking, subscribing. Let's get that Counter Media channel up to 100,000. Let's build all the other channels up. Get Shoaib's channel built up. And whatever you do, if you don't know anything else, sign the pledge. See you all soon, guys. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.